Hello, Nurse Converse listeners. Today I am here with Farida Labaran, innovator, nurse extraordinaire. My name is Ama Mathewos, one of the contributing Nurse Converse hostess, and I'm excited to dive into this conversation with you today, Farida, around what made you step out and do something that I think is not just innovative as far as healthcare surgical attire, but really just kind of innovative from a nurse's role. And we know that there's so much out there for nurses to improve upon and create in healthcare. And so I'm just excited to hear your story and for our listeners to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Ama. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to share my journey and hopefully, inspire anybody who is listening who
Yeah.
might be sitting on an idea or might just,
Yes.
need a little extra boost to believe in themselves and what they have to offer in this world.
Yes. It often is that, right? Like they need to hear that someone else did it. Someone believes in them. So thank you for that encouragement to the listeners. Okay. So starting off with your personal journey and kind of inspiration to co-create this scrub cap. I want to, one, I know the information is kind of out there on your platform and in FIGS, but can you, for the listeners, explain how you came about co-creating a scrub cap with FIGS?
Yes. So I have been integrated with FIGS since I would say 2020.
Okay.
And this is a company that I highly respect because I remember the height of the pandemic starting and them reaching out to me and wanting to like know more about me and include me in their world. And I remember saying, this time is very heightened right now. There's so
Yeah.
much going on politically, like medically, the climate is hot. And they instantly showed so much care about what do you need? Do you guys have enough PPE? Because, I was working in the hospital at the time,
Yes.
floating between the ICU and the step down. So PPE shortage was huge.
Yes.
And they were like, what can we send you to make your day better? So instantly I felt seen, I felt cared
Yeah.
for. It didn't feel transactional as, a lot of things can feel sometimes, especially when working
Absolutely.
with brands. So I instantly was like, you know what? Thank you. Like, even
Yes.
if I didn't need anything, it just felt great too. So from then on, there has just been this beautiful, so to say, like love story that has grown with me and the FIGS community with their other nurses, doctors, but also their internal team. And one thing about me is hair care has been something that's been a core of my brand
Yeah.
from day one. Even when I was a child, I just
Yeah.
love being a girly girl. I love taking care of
Uh,
myself. I feel confident in my curls. Like I love to take time, spend the extra time to take care of myself to look
yeah.
good. And that, involves like not learning the narrative that, oh, curly hair
Mm,
is difficult or whatever may be, and just
yeah.
taking time to learn my own hair. And so I started a platform called Natural Hair Bestie, and I've been sharing the things that I've been doing and how I've been taking
Oh,
care of my curls since
yeah.
about 2016. I've been on this platform on and off. So I knew that being in the healthcare world, especially
Mm,
during COVID, I was like, man, I gotta wear scrub caps all the time now. Well, while I used to wear them before, but it was not as mandated as it was during COVID.
mhm.
COVID is like you're not stepping into anywhere without a scrub cap. So
Yeah.
I suddenly realized what I had was very like cotton or very harsh
Yeah.
materials. And now we would be wearing them 12, 14, 16 hours. Some doctors are in the hospital 48 hours. Like, and this thing is just rubbing on my scalp, rubbing on my
Yeah.
edges, causing friction. And I realized I have so many videos. I love to document. So I have so many videos in my phone. I was like, I don't like the way I look today. I just
Mm,
got off a shift. I don't feel confident.
yeah.
Oh, I don't. And it just became a thing. And one day, one of my friends was like, hey, do you want to meet up to go maybe like take a walk or something? Just something social that was outside. And I had just gotten off a long shift. And I was like, no, I don't like the way I look. So I'm not going. And I just realized that, okay, it's mainly I don't like the way my hair looks.
Looks. Mm,
Okay, we got to do something about this. So I started doing my own makeshift scrub caps. I reached out to a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, can you help me like put this satin inside of this cap and like create
Yeah.
something that I can wear that I can go to it? Because I recently got a haircut, but before I had a lot of hair, which I still
Hmm.
kind of, but
Which I see the shape. It looks gorgeous.
thank you. But it was like I was losing hair, but I still had a lot
Hmm.
of hair. So I needed something that worked for me. Did that, and I started liking that system better because even before that, I was doing my own makeshift. I wear a scarf here, wear another one on the bottom,
Yeah.
and all the things where it's like, one, the material was not good, but secondly, the scrubs, the caps that were out there were not big enough to
Yeah.
fit the volume of not just curly hair, but like average women hair,
Yeah.
long hair, big
That's
hair,
right.
whatever the shape of the hair is. It felt like it was made specifically for a bald man.
And it probably was a bald white man.
And probably like that, you know what I'm saying? With their little buzz cat. So I was just like, come on, this, especially nursing, women
Yeah,
dominate. We
that's
pray
right.
dominate this industry. There's got to be
Oh my
something,
God, you've unlocked something here.
to make us feel seen and like
Yeah,
we are the forefront of this industry. Like we got
yeah,
to be the representation. So I started creating my own for myself. But then after a while I said, I fear there might be others who might have what I have to offer. And
yeah,
so I created a survey. And in that survey, I tried to keep it very vague so it's not like I'm biased on like, hey, I think you need this or you
yeah,
should get
yeah,
this,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I just have made a very general, like healthy hair and hair care. That was the name of the survey. And a lot of the responses, because there was a
Hmm.
part where people can just write what they need, everybody was like silk, satin, silk, silk, satin, silk. Like
Yeah,
that was the entire response. So I said, okay, great. Now I have the data. And I know it's a need because I need it. Now, how do I want to go about this?
yeah,
And, I love nursing. I love my profession. And it was never a thing where I'm like, okay, now I got the data. Let me go create scrap caps and leave
yeah,
nursing. It was more so like, how do I use my resources that I have to me, my network, to try to create something bigger than me.
yes,
So that's when I turned to FIGS. But obviously, this is a company. So before I even got there, and this is the part that I'm like to inspire others with an idea, is I had to make sure that, yes, one, I did the research, but I presented it in a way that it was easily digestible. So
hmm,
I didn't just take the survey and say, here go a survey. This is the need. I
yeah,
was able to break it into a proposal deck with like, the executive summary, presenting the problem,
right,
presenting the solution, and so on and so forth, so that anybody that gets this is able to follow the problem and the
right.
proposed solution. And they granted me a meeting, which was really, nice. I got in there. Brings me to
Nervous.
my other point. I was scared, but do it scared. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like
It
I
was scared.
was scared. I
Absolutely.
was shaking in my boots, and I tried to use things like humor to, kind of mitigate the nerves. But
Yeah,
they were very welcoming. The meeting, I felt heard, I felt seen, and all the things. So I'm like, okay, I've done what I need to do.
yeah,
And then, I prayed about it, gave it space, gave it time to actually actualize. And for me, it felt like tying all my words together. Healthcare, my passion and love for healthcare, my passion and love for confidence in us and our existence. And just
yeah,
like it's beyond hair, it's like embracing your authentic self and just loving yourself. So that's where my love for natural hair really started. It's like I grew up as a kid that had to perm my hair for so long,
hmm,
and
hmm,
while I always felt beautiful, there came a time where I'm like, I should just be able to
yeah.
just wear what I got. You know what
That's
I
right.
mean?
That's right. That's right.
And so that love for natural hair, love for nursing. And then the other thing about me is I loved growing up as a kid, I loved art. I loved drawing,
Mm,
designing, creating, creativity with my hands. So being able to also tap into that world. So
yeah,
presenting to FIGS and letting them know while I'm bringing an idea, I would love to be part of uh, all of it. I would
yeah,
love to help design the product. I'd love to help come up with, the solution. Like, I don't want
yeah.
to just like be like, here you go, do it.
Right.
And that for me felt like challenging myself in a way
Mm-hmm.
where obviously I'm going out of my comfort zone, but I'm also making sure that we have conversations about being included in solutions. So
Yeah.
we've got to be part of the conversations of the solutions, not somebody else doing it for us.
Right.
And we being specifically also healthcare workers, oftentimes you feel like there's a product created for us and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
is this for
Right.
us?
I mean, you said so much just in this like opening of, yeah, like, I mean, I feel like we could go back and look at the history of how a surgical cap was created, who was it created for, and why for so long was it not modified to meet, the modern healthcare worker. I was a nurse manager during the pandemic, so yes, had to like have a scrub cap on, which I've never been in procedural areas as far as like clinical care. So that was kind of new to me. And yeah, it just felt tight. And so my hair back then was much longer. This is a newer shortcut. And I just, because of that, I wore my hair slicked back into a ponytail all the time, which, as you know, is not great, especially if you're not going to have like a set. Like, it's not the best way to, maintain your hair in its healthiest form, to always have it
Oh
slicked
yeah.
back. And so, yeah, when you were telling your story of like how you felt during the pandemic, and it's just really interesting, even during that time of all the seriousness, that's even still how confidence and how we feel and look impacts, the ability for us to connect and be social and go on. And so it is all very connected. And yeah, and I don't know, just even you talking about, it's not just the need isn't solely for, very textured hair, or like ours, but more so if you have volume. Like, scrub caps are just so small. They're like skin tight. They're almost like swim caps, not scrub caps. And so
Yes.
I love that you took the time to meet your own needs and trying to create it, and then thought about the impact this is probably having on others, and the initiative to go and survey, because nurses, we love our data and we want to, and then pitch it. Also very courageous and brave, especially during the time when it was easy to kind of just retreat or try to relax. Or I think your story, what you shared so far too, shows another form of self-care is being innovative and creative and doing something, and not just being in a world. Like, we all need to rest and do restorative things. But in a way, this creation, this work, because I'm sure it was not easy, and we're going to dive into that too, didn't, I imagine, and maybe I'll ask that, didn't maybe feel as much like work because it had such purpose and passion for you. Is that true?
Oh, 1000%,
Yeah.
1000%. I think the hardest part about it was just to have patience for it to
Mm.
actualize and to trust in the corporate process of.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, there was a time that I had a traumatic injury that I needed to have hip surgery. So I was waiting and waiting, but I would still go in office for the meetings.
For the meetings.
They would be like, no, like we could have had this via Zoom. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is
Mm.
fueling my
I
everything right now. It's giving
Yeah.
me a sense of self identity, giving me a sense of purpose. It's
Mm-hmm.
lighting up the fire inside of me, girl. I will
Yeah.
be here with my broken hip.
Broke hip and all, this satin calf is coming
It,
to a
it's
shelter near
coming.
you.
Yeah. So,
So can you tell us and share a little bit of like what that process was like to co-create? I know you shared a little bit about um, when you did it on your own, asking for satin to be put inside or putting two pieces together. Once you got into collaborating with FIGS, if you will, what was that process like?
it was so before we even got to the process of actually creating the product, there was a lot of just like, meetings to figure out the terms of the partnership and all of
Uh-huh.
that. So I speak just candidly on that part where it's like, as a nurse, I say that my passion is always like the patient and the
Mm-hmm.
care and the heart of things. So when it comes to being on the other side where, okay, this is an invention, there has to be some terms, right?
Yeah.
I am basically crap in my pants because you got to have the hard conversations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was in itself a process that was very graceful, but a process that was also very uncomfortable for me because I'm not typically in these spaces. I'm not
Mhm.
typically having these type of conversations. So that just brings me back to just putting yourself out there. It's like the uncomfortable conversations will just have to be had. There's just no
Yeah.
way around it.
Who did you turn to support you in these uncomfortable conversations, or to inform you how to show up in these agreement conversations? Did you have to go out and like seek your own legal counsel, or was FIGS making it comfortable for you? And I don't know. Tell us a little bit about that business side that I think many nurses will say they're uncomfortable with or unfamiliar with.
Oh, yes. That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I did have my support system, which is a very select few friends and my family
Okay.
that I was just kind of, help affirm me.
Yeah.
Like you're doing great. Like just don't back down and all of that.
Yeah.
And then also Figs was already, they were really great from the jump where they're like, what do you need? Like how do you want this to go? What would make this comfortable for you? Which was
Hmm.
always part of like their questioning. But I also knew that I loved the creative aspect of this, so I did not want to get caught up in the terms and the nitty
Mm.
gritty and reading contracts. So I also sought out my legal counsel, which I would recommend for
Yeah.
anybody. I would highly recommend, especially knowing that I don't have a legal background
Yeah.
and I might have a little bit of business background here and there, but it wasn't my strongest asset.
Yeah.
So now I feel like it is,
Yeah.
Uh, so it was very comfortable for me to come in with my legal counsel, and same with Figs. And just the room was still pretty much not intense. It wasn't
Yeah.
like what you see on TV or
Yeah.
like attention, but it was just the discomfort of doing something totally out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's where that came from. And that process also takes some time, some, back and forth,
Yeah.
negotiations in and out, back and forth. But that's where the patience comes in. That's where, you still stay true and authentic and not lose sight of like why we're doing this and what we're doing this for and the long term, the future of this. Once all of that is done, I'm like, oh, thank God we could get to creating.
Yeah.
So once we got through that, we got to now I started working closely with the design team. And I would probably say that was the most fun for me
I'm
because now we're like,
sure.
here's the sketches. Here is so I have a sketchbook with a whole bunch of like just doodles and like patterns. Having a Ghanaian background, a
Yeah.
lot of our fabrics is patterns. So I've also adopted the habit of just creating and doodling patterns on my own.
Mhm.
So I had the opportunity to just present a lot of my artwork and say, hey, like
Beautiful.
these are the works that I have so far. I feel like we can convert some of these into, the scrub cap. And once I knew though, because the process was taking a while, once everything I doodled from the moment I started thinking about the scrap cap was something that I was like, could this have a meaning to it? What kind of meaning could we give to this product?
Mm.
What kind of meaning could we give to this pattern? Sometimes we're just like, okay, I just felt inspired by a purple flower, so I'll draw something. But other times it's like, okay, I felt inspired by the process of creating something for healthcare workers.
Hmm.
So even the pattern, and we can get into that later,
Yes.
also has a meaning because that, I created it and then the meaning kind of just dawned on me as I was looking at it, staring at it for a while. So yeah.
You touched on a few things that I want to dig a little bit deeper in, and it's the what the scrub cap represents, and as well as its impact. So let's talk about what it represents, literally and maybe figuratively, if you will. So in the literal sense, especially with the design, can you tell us a little bit about the design and how your creativity and your Ghanaian heritage influence the design?
Yeah. So very, very, even from the root of my existence, my Ghanaian heritage
Mm-hmm.
is always about connection, about community,
Mm-hmm.
about support. And I feel like in my day-to-day upbringing, neighbors were like your
Yeah.
aunties and cousins. They weren't really your aunties and cousins, but they
Right.
became, right, you would understand because,
Yeah.
from Eritrea. So I know that upbringing, it never leaves my veins. That's just a part
Yeah.
of who I am. And when I was thinking about healthcare, a lot of what we do is very community based, although the
Yeah.
the system can make you lose sight of what we're doing. But
That's
when you think
right.
about it,
Yeah.
doctors, nurses, PTs, like all of us cannot do our work independently.
Right.
And as broken as the system is, we still operate from a community sense, because how is a
Hmm.
nurse supposed to work alone? How is a
That's
doctor
right.
supposed to work alone? We
Right.
can't. It's just impossible. So when the name of the pattern is Intraconnected. So when
Okay.
I started creating this pattern, there was like, I had some lines and some semicircles. They all look like pillars. And
Hmm.
then like little dots all around. And then some small circles that were almost like connecting dots. So I
Mm.
was looking at it for a while. I said, wow, this kind of in a way reminds me of healthcare, how we're all connected one way or the other. And then there's always little things that kind of just make my day brighter when I was on the bedside. I'm not on the bedside right now, but the break room chats, I had
Yeah.
my work besties, we had
Yeah.
inside jokes, me and the EVS were friends, me and the PTs were like everybody just, there was little, you could leave a code and someone will find a way to make you smile,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you still got to keep going. You
Right.
can't, if a patient codes at 9 a.m., your shift doesn't end till 7:30 p.m. You don't get to shut down till 7:30 p.m.
That's right.
And so what keeps you going from 9 to
Yeah.
7:30 is everybody else,
Yeah. Your community, your shift
Yeah.
community. Yep.
Somebody bringing you coffee, somebody making a little joke. So all of that went into creating this pattern and calling it intraconnected, because it feels like that's what it is within this system
Mhm.
that is so broken, but we're still finding ways to really intertwine and help each other, because at the end of the day, we're taking care of real people, real patients, real problems.
Yeah.
It's not a sim lab.
That's
So
right.
that's
I
really,
love that. And it's so true. And I was smiling because as you described those moments throughout a shift, you named different disciplines, the joke, the coffee, the work bestie. And I don't know, it's just nice to hear that, to say that, because oftentimes complaints rise to the front of conversations, and there is deep community on the shift across the disciplines. And so one, to get to hear that, and two, just make me kind of reflect on my team or the folks that I used to work with, especially in the clinical setting. And then to just know that that is showing up in the design of a surgical cap created by you for nurses. And all of that, I think, plays into the part of like representation and impact. And so my next question is, one can think this is a small change, right? Just to like a uniform design. But I know this, and I definitely feel and see it, that there is just this broader impact that happens. And so I don't know, want to hear maybe your reflections on how you think seeing a surgical cap, both in uh, aesthetic design as well as functionality design, as the one you co-created with FIGS, in the workplace, in healthcare, in stores. What does that impact on a broader scale mean to you?
man, I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
I really do. I do, because one thing that sometimes I reflect on, especially I travel quite a bit. When I travel, is in the places that I travel that I don't feel like a minority, so to say.
Mm, yeah.
So there's some places I go, I forget I was
Yeah.
a minority. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So in a sense, it's kind of relates to that, right?
Mhm.
Where when you are not an afterthought,
Yeah.
when you feel like
Yeah.
I was considered before this was created, that feeling of feeling small, feeling less than, feeling like, let me get the scrubs, let me get the shorter end of the stick, let me get the that
Yeah.
minor.
Yeah.
That brings down confidence. That brings people down in a very psychological, in a very subconscious way. And
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that my niece is 5 years old. She says she wants to become a doctor, and I support whatever she does.
Yeah.
She's got this already. She don't got to go find it. So when she becomes a doctor, if she does become a doctor and when she does, this is not going to be a problem for her. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of innovations that come, but that permission for continued innovation, but the erasure of what could potentially be a problem for her in the future is no longer going to be a problem for her
Yeah.
because it's been done.
Yeah.
She's not stepping into this space as a minority in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might as it would racially, but when it comes to little things that people think are so minute, but they make the world of a difference. At the end of the day, I'm just a girly girl and I love looking pretty. And I want that to be taken away from me. You know? So
I love it. I love it. And it is, well, one, I have to say, you're like, my question gave you chills, like the heaviness of your response at the beginning, but then ending in just the hope, right? And so you just hit it on the head of like, it does symbolize that inclusion. It will, for so many people, affirm in a way, you know, oftentimes when you are in the minority group or when things aren't made with you in mind, as you said, like you it's so common that sometimes you don't even know that you're having the impact that maybe like you don't fit, right? Like I think we get a little bit not immune to it, but accustomed to it. And so I definitely have walked into a room, a space, visited a country, but also, more importantly, when you get to see products that represent your personal needs and you just go, you know?
yeah.
And when that happens, I mean, I know you know, but like, and so it is so powerful that your 5 year old niece will not have to worry about that, or that won't be in an exhale that she'll have to have. And it just always amazes me when you do that, or you feel the release or the comfort or the inclusion, and you're like, oh man, I didn't even know I was carrying some tension or tightness.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, seeing, I wholeheartedly agree. It brought me smiles to be on FIGS to see the different designs and the models that were included with different hair textures and lengths.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's more than just being a girly girl, even though a girly girl deserves to have options as well. It's so inclusive and so beautiful.
And honestly, at the end of the day, to be seen is to be loved.
Yeah,
So if this feeling seen is like one of the highest forms of love that you
that's
can
right.
have. Yeah.
So on that note, right, like to be seen is to be loved, and to be loved is a form of love, is being cared for, and that's what we do in healthcare, right? And definitely as nurses. What are your thoughts on healthcare? Is it becoming more inclusive? Do you feel that we're heading in the right direction, but still more work, or do you feel we're hitting roadblocks? What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think currently in this current climate, it's
Yeah,
very unfortunate to see what's being done
yeah,
in this profession and industry that most of us have poured our hearts and soul into. It's
yeah,
heartbreaking. There's so many nurses that don't want to be nurses anymore, so many doctors that don't want to be doctors anymore, and there's so many patients who are hurting. And obviously, with this new big, beautiful bill, not to
yeah.
get all political, but it's
Yeah,
like
everything's political. For sure.
everything is political.
Yeah,
And it's a shame because it's like maybe we might take an inch forward and then we take so many steps back. And the people that it hurts are not just us
yeah,
as healthcare workers, but it's really the people that come to get the care that they deserve. Because if the system is broken from us, we being the pillars that hold it together, everything
yeah,
is broken.
yeah,
So patients then end up getting just harmed by this system.
yeah.
And what's really harmful is like patients is not a demographic that you can just place. Anybody is a patient.
That's right.
Literally anybody, from the richest to the poorest.
Yeah,
So all the harm that the system causes harms. everybody as a whole.
That's right.
And it's sad to see most people leaving the profession because we're not feeling supported. We're not getting, the resources that we need. And on top of that, we're getting more cuts, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And for me right now, I'm in school to become a psych and P. And sometimes my friends are like, girl, you crazy. You still going? But to be honest, one demographic that I really care about deeply is the healthcare professional demographics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to support as much as I can the nurses, the doctors, like the pizzas, everybody that's in this system,
Yeah.
because I know what the system can do to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much needed to have mental health, well-being support for healthcare professionals, definitely impactful and powerful, being done by a healthcare professional who's been at the front lines and can speak about it, and who also knows what it means to be, a marginalized group, being a part of a marginalized group. So I trust at the end of your schooling, you'll be making major impact in healthcare professionals' well-being and mental health. So I'm sure it's not easy. And these folks that are telling you, girl, are you crazy? Be like, yes, I'm crazy about helping people. And so how do you stay, or what advice? Because, right, like you're still staying connected to the profession. You're still seeing, even in all of that, you described all the challenges that we're dealing with back in the pandemic and even now. And yet you're going back to school. You're still engaged and have plans and can identify, I think, very importantly, a need and wanting, and also a solution and being part of that solution. So what advice can you give, or tell us how you get to that, the listeners, like, and myself, like how you get to that mindset and sustain it, I think most importantly in this climate of staying connected and offering and creating solutions to challenges we all know that we're seeing, or experiencing, or any gap in your area. What would you tell your fellow healthcare professionals, like how to close these gaps, how to solve these problems?
Um, this is loaded. I think I'm still navigating that world. I
Yeah.
have been disappointed by the
Mm.
system more times than I can count. But
Yeah.
I try not to focus on that disappointment or motivations and all of that, but really truly what's in here. And
Mm-hmm.
I truly feel like since I was a young child, I took care of my grandparents till they
Yeah.
passed. So for me, I don't know what higher power was instilled in me by the gods to
Yeah.
continue to have a caring heart, but I do know that there is so many people that I care about that are also in this profession.
Yeah.
Um, my brother just graduated his orthopedic surgery residency.
Yes.
He's also a nurse. My niece wants to become a doctor. My
Yes.
family is full of caregivers. And so these are people that I care very deeply about. And I want to continue to give what I can in
Yeah.
this. And I do think that I've been fortunate to also connect with so many different types of people in this space who care so much and want to do so much greatness in this world that if we all put our heads together, there will be true change that
Yeah.
we deserve. And so why give up? There's always going to be hard things to do.
Yeah.
So don't give up.
Don't give up. Why give up? That's right. And I think the opposite of questioning why one would give up is leaning into, um, or trying to shift to like being hopeful. I think is very, can help you get through a shift, can help you get through a tough year or season, and then just definitely navigating the healthcare industry right now and all that's going on. So thank you for those encouraging words. I'm going to pivot back to your innovation, your entrepreneurial spirit. I have some questions. Do you have anything else you're planning or developing on the other side, whether it's healthcare related or not? Any partnerships that you are able to talk about without breaching your NDA?
Let me think. Honestly, right now, I think it's, I just want to continue to scrub cap specifically. I've heard so much of the feedback. I've read all the reviews on Google and on FIGS website, and I just want people to know that I've heard them. I've read all the PMs. I hear all
What
the
are they saying? Are they like the Rihanna?
requests.
Like, where you at with the album? Where you at with more products?
I've heard you guys. So I mean, I'm definitely in conversations with FIGS some more just to see where we can take this. But I know that for me, it's bigger than just like here's a product. It's really solving more than the need for a product. It's
Yeah.
making people feel seen.
Ooh.
So
Which
yeah.
is something I was going to ask you is like, what's your dream for how healthcare attire could evolve or better reflect and support all identities?
Ooh, yeah. I think there's a lot of these new community spaces being built, right?
Mhm.
Like in social media, for example. With FIGS, they have this whole community that I'm a part of, right? I've seen it in different pockets. And the key is to have those groups be as diverse as
Mm,
possible to reflect the face of healthcare. So when you're in healthcare, you see all kinds of different people.
right.
So when you're creating these communities, that's where true change comes. Then they need to look like me and
Yeah.
you. They look like the Muslim girls. They need to look like people with physical disabilities, people with
Yeah.
mental health. Like
Right.
diverse as it can, because then we start really knowing the needs of specific populations. Because I might not know the needs of everyone, but if we
Yeah.
bring everyone together,
That's
at
right.
least representation from different groups, then we'll have easy. It'd
Yeah.
be easy. We just gotta hold the spaces for people to be able to come. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I see that happening more. I see it happening more on a like in social media in general.
Yeah.
But when you bring that healthcare social media group together too, it's like, okay, this is a well represented community, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we just went to DC with FIGS a few, maybe like 3 weeks now or to a month. We were on Capitol Hill advocating for mental health resources,
Wow.
for less paperwork, like less prior auths. And the last one was, so first one was mental health, the second one was prior auths. And the last one, I hope y'all edit this out because I'm blanking out. There was 3 bills we were advocating for. This is going to bother me. Pay.
Ah.
Better pay. Yeah, so I've been traveling a lot. So
Yeah.
better pay, mental health, and then prior auths. And we went to go meet with members of Congress, their staffers, and all different types of members of Congress to talk to them about our lived experiences, right?
Mm.
And I feel like that in itself, it's like, okay, we brought the people that are on the front line every single day, talking to the people that are making these
Yeah.
policies. So you can imagine, like, I had an opportunity to meet with Senator Bernie Sanders and talk to him about
Wow.
the challenges that we
Yeah.
face and how impactful is that. So now we have these 3 bills we're trying to get passed. Of course, they've seen us, they've put faces, names, and all of that. So I think it helps push the message. And so kind of similar to the question you asked, you just have to have the people that you can make decisions for a group of people.
Yeah.
The decision making power has to go back to those people.
Yeah.
What do you need as a community? When we got that, we'll be
Yeah.
great.
I love the snap point. So wait. I love how you just threw in there that let's add the another hyphen to your work that and really interesting too that you said that you were there in DC with FIGS doing advocacy work for the profession, right? On 3 key bills. And so I mean, just, I don't know. I'm in awe because there's clinical care, there's, your work, there's this creative outlet. There's obviously your whole personal life and now advocacy in DC. this collaboration with FIGS sounds like now, right? Like not just a business relationship about a one-off product or how to, monetize an untapped market. Tell me a little bit about this like partnership or this multi-hyphenated approach that you have of living life, and how what I think might be helpful for listeners is just hearing the story, because you're also storytelling both in DC and here to help other people see that we can make impact in different ways. And so how do you go about not just being a nurse, right? And being, I shouldn't say just, but like in the sense of just going to work and then coming home, right? Like, or now you decided to go to school, which I think, or you're in school, which is a common one, but just doing all these things at once. And I think society often will tell people to just be like, wait, are you an entrepreneur or are you a nurse? Are you political or are you, a girly's girl and loves makeup? Talk to me about how you're being authentic and showing up in these different spaces. You talked about how it's important in communities, but how are you able to live this way?
I discovered a new word that they got for us. It's not really new, but they're called the multi-hyphenates. So there's, I guess, this new groups. So on TikTok, they call us the multi-hyphenates. But I honestly think it all comes down to like what's in my core.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be defined by an employer or a role or whatever it is that I'm doing, because I love to live my life to the fullest. Like I love people.
Yeah.
I love space. Like I just love life. And I feel like when you really come from that core of I love life, I want to do it all.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand. People are like, well, you got to get focused or you got to do this one thing or that thing. I got free will. I think people need to understand that when you have free will, you can do anything you want. You want to become a carpenter today and then go to become a DJ tomorrow. Like that is called the power of your free will. And I think that my life is so much more fulfilled because there are a lot of things that I want to do that I always end up doing. I might not do it well. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm about to start playing tennis. I'm not the best. I've never even played tennis, but I want to do something that excites me.
Yeah.
And obviously I have a privilege that I know right now. I don't have any kids. So I feel like, maybe if I had some young kids, I might, like everyone's situation is different. It's what I'm trying to get at. But I still understand that I have free will and I have this zest and passion for life and also just the betterment of this world. Like I believe that we were brought into this earth to make it a better place than we found it. So when you're coming from a value system, you begin to operate from that and not from ego or not from accolades and not from like, okay, I have to be the best at things. And once you begin to just come from that core of like, I just really want to truly enjoy my life and leave it better than I found it, you're not afraid to try new things that you might suck. You actually will suck.
Yeah, it's a part of the process for sure.
It is. And not being afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to be seen trying. You're going to look silly to the next person, but who cares?
Yeah, come on with the word. Come on with the word. Tell the people.
Rather look silly than to live a life of what ifs and to live a very small life. And stuff will get hard, okay? Like things get hard for me too, but I don't dwell in that. I give it the moment. If I got to go to therapy, I do, but you got to learn how to move on.
Yeah.
And that's the zest I got for life.
I love the shimmy. All right, Nurse Converse listeners, you heard it here. You have free will, my friends, to go out and live the life that you want to live. What I heard you say are just some powerful things. We are great reminders and just ways of being. Is being open, being curious, not worrying about what other people think. And that often comes into our minds. All of us, our own family, our colleagues, our old colleague, your high school friend, whatever, all the different people we're worried about. We're going to stop worrying about those people, and be cringy, suck. Progress, or, I often tell my son, he's 6, practice makes progress, because we're not aiming for perfection. And I love that you own and talk about the hard part or the awkwardness, or, you're doing something to have fun and have curiosity and learn, and you're not needing to just be a master right out the gate. And so I think that's a reminder we all can benefit from, whether that means we're changing specialties, leaving hospitals, moving, becoming a traveler, all these different things that I think come up in every nurse's head, and then maybe just sits on that idea or that desire. And so we all have free will. Let's go out there, whether it's make a surgical cap, or go play tennis.
Yes.
Live your best life. And I should say, all of that also is centered around, you said something so very important, values. And just how I approach my life, but definitely the work that I do is really just being valued centered. And so when you have a clarity around that, I think you can look and feel as free as you do talking about these things, or being a multi-hyphenate, because it seems like it's so many different things, but it's all grounded in core values of creativity, being a caregiver, having fun, being curious, all these things that are values that just exude from you just talking to you. And you don't hold all of that hostage just being a nurse. You do it in the different ways. So thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for sharing your story, your encouragement for all of us to go out there and use our free will. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you, social media, and where they can follow you?
Yes, thank you so much. I've had so much fun on this podcast, and you all can find me on my Instagram. I actually have 2 pages. If you want inspiration on taking care of your hair and all of the things, hair care vibes, then you can find me at Natural Hair Bestie, all one word, Natural Hair Bestie. And then my other page, which is really like my main page or my professional page, is Reads, REE, another E, DZ, and 2 underscores. That one's a bit more complex, but I promise you, when you look it up, you will find me.
That's it. Thank you for that. Listeners, please subscribe, like this episode, share it with your besties, whether it's over hair care, political, innovation bestie, or your nurse bestie. Please share, subscribe, and like this episode. Farida, it was an honor to spend time with you today. We wish you well. Oh, virtual hug. Love it, girl.
Thank you so much for your time and just like your energy and your vibe. This has been so fun.